Senator Gallego went on to meet the press. And he was asked when Democrats would reopen the government. And he said, quote, "I'm not looking at a timetable. I'm looking at everyone's personal pocketbooks." Now, Senator Gallego, you ought to be looking at the pocketbooks of those single moms who right now are facing losing their WIC payments, facing losing their SNAP payments. And if Senator Gallego's not sure how many people that is, we've been told by the administration how many people will stand to lose real benefits, SNAP benefits, food stamps for kids. 42 million people will lose those benefits in just a few days. Senator Gallego, look at their pocketbooks. WIC, Women, Infants, and Children program, helps feed 7 million low-income moms and infants. Senator, go look at those pocketbooks. And who knows what your real motivation is. But I'll tell you what their motivation is. Their motivation is just to put food on their table for their kids. And every Republican and Democrat, every Republican in the House and Senate voted yes to put that food on the table. And Democrats keep voting no. They keep voting to shut the government down. And it's having an impact on millions of people. Head Start, which is a program that funds education and nutrition services for 800,000 kids under the age of 6. You hear this theme over and over again now. Who the Democrats are using for leverage and hurting is kids and nutrition programs. That's who they've chosen to target. And it's real harm and real pain that they're causing. But then it gets even bigger. Just today, the American Federation of Government Employees, large union, came out and said, quote, "It's time to pass a clean, continuing resolution and end this shutdown today. No half measures and no gamesmanship." And the union went on to say today, quote, "Because when the folks who serve this country are standing in line for food banks after missing a second paycheck because of this shutdown, they aren't looking for partisan spin. They're looking for the wages they earned. The fact that they're being cheated out of it is a national disgrace." And they're right. It's a national disgrace what Democrats are doing to good, hardworking people, to women, infants, and children who are just looking to this town and saying, what are these Democrats doing? What happened to your father's Democrat Party? It's a mirage of what it used to be because the socialists have taken over. This is what Marxism and socialism looks like. Government workers standing in food bank lines, children going without food, and Head Start nutrition programs so that Democrats can use you as leverage. It's a national disgrace, and it needs to end now. We stand ready to get that job done. We voted to get that job done. It's time they stop playing this game that's harming millions of people. Our whip, Tom Emmer.
We're now on day 27 of the Democrats' shutdown, and the consequences are getting more severe every single day. Over the weekend, we saw federal workers lined up at food banks, as our majority leader was just saying, as they are being forced to figure out how to feed their families. We saw control towers at major airports such as Dallas, Fort Worth, Newark, and Phoenix facing significant staffing shortages. And if the Democrats fail to pass our clean CR and reopen the government this week, more Americans will miss their hard-earned paychecks. Some states will be forced to cut off SNAP benefits, including my home state of Minnesota. Thankfully, the Trump administration and private sector companies have stepped up where Democrats have refused. President Trump has found creative solutions to help pay our troops and fund WIC benefits for moms and young children for just a little bit longer. DoorDash announced yesterday that they will help support Americans by delivering free meals to food banks and waiving delivery and service fees on grocery orders for SNAP recipients. But these are Band-Aid solutions to the Democrats' self-inflicted shutdown problem. Remember, it doesn't have to be this way. There is a nonpartisan government funding bill sitting in the Senate ready to be sent to President Trump's desk immediately. We just need 5 Senate Democrats to come to their senses, do the right and reasonable thing, and support our clean CR. Contrary to what House Minority Whip Catherine Clark believes, the American people are not leverage in the Democrats' shutdown charade. And we refuse to negotiate under hostage conditions, nor will we pay a ransom. So our message today is the same as every other day, and we're glad to see, as the Majority Leader mentioned, that the American Federation of Government Employees, by the way, the largest government employee union, 820,000 federal employees, have joined us in saying enough with the political games, support our clean CR, and reopen the government like your constituents' livelihoods depend on it, because they do. With that, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yeah, Manu, go ahead.
It's now been more than 5 weeks since the House has last met and last voted. But even during the government shutdown, House committees could still meet, there could still be markups, there could still be oversight hearings, bills could still come to the floor. So why not do that rather than have members back home in their districts? Why not bring them back here and do the work that they were elected to do?
Yeah, so we're evaluating this day by day. The House did its work. I've said it over and over and over. And the most important thing is to get the government open. It's the #1 priority and #1 responsibility of Congress, and the Senate Democrats have chosen not to do it. We think that is paramount and of paramount importance to everything else. There is plenty of time in the remainder of the calendar year to do all the things that are the must-pass pieces of legislation and all the negotiations that I referenced earlier today, and we are anxious to get everybody back to regular legislative session. But there cannot be a regular legislative session so long as the government is closed and Americans are feeling so much pain. We won't do that. Now, in the meantime, Republicans, I don't know what the Democrats are doing other than publicity stunts, but I can tell you the House Republicans are doing some of the most meaningful work of their careers. They are in their districts working around the clock with their constituents, helping them not only to negotiate the crisis that's been created by this Democrat shutdown, but all the other matters that they need to attend to. And I'm hearing from them individually. They are having some of the most meaningful interactions at a time of great crisis with their constituents that they've ever had, and that's really, really important. So I don't want to pull them away from that work right now when their insight and their counsel and their assistance and those of their staff, who, by the way, aren't getting paid soon, that is most essentially needed right now back home. So we have work to do here. We'll get back on the floor as soon as we can, and in the meantime, as soon as the Democrats allow us, and in the meantime, the committees, the chairs of all the committees, and the active members of those committees are still churning the work out. They're not doing a markup right now in a formal meeting, for example, but they are still doing very meaningful work. Oversight, the oversight responsibility of the House continues to work. You might have noticed the Oversight Committee dumped its 3rd batch of files from the Epstein matter just a number of days ago. 43,000 pages of documents are out there, including Epstein's own personal flight logs, his financial ledgers, his daily calendar and diaries. All those things are out now in the public. And so all these essential functions of the House of Representatives continue in earnest. No, Hakeem Jeffries has said they're on vacation. Well, he might have sent the Democrats on vacation. But House Republicans are doing very important, very essential work around the clock. Yes, go ahead, Melanie. Yes. Well, look, I can tell you the administration has worked, as you all know, very creatively and very hard to limit the pain on the Americans because of the Democrats' shutdown. And the SNAP benefits is a unique situation. I got a summary of the whole legal analysis, and it certainly looks legitimate to me. The contingency funds are not legally available to cover the benefits right now. The reason is because it's a finite source of funds. It was appropriated by Congress, and if they transfer funds from these other sources, it pulls it away immediately from school meals and infant formula. So it's a trade-off. There has to be a pre-existing appropriation for the contingency fund to be used, And Democrats blocked that appropriation when they rejected the clean continuing resolution. So the way to make this stop immediately is we just need a handful. We need 5 more Democrats in the Senate to do the right thing, wake up and say, I'm going to say no to the Marxist far left pressure, and I'm going to do what's right by the people, the 42 million Americans in this country who rely upon this essential nutrition assistance. Am I going to starve my constituents, or am I going to appease the Marxists? That is their actual calculation, whether they say all of that out loud or not. Everybody in this room knows exactly what's going on, and it's so infuriating to us. The best way for SNAP benefits to be paid on time is for the Democrats to end their shutdown, and that could happen right now if they would show some spine. Yes. So the question is about military pay. We did get the president, as you know, tapped in research and development, unobligated funds, and paid the military in the middle of October. Their next check is due the end of this week, and we're not 100% sure. Now, I do know the administration and everybody is bending over backwards to try to figure that out, but I don't know the final analysis yet. With regard to who gave the $130 million very generous donation to help pay troops, by the way, that's just a small fraction of what is needed to pay the troops, as you know, but a very generous donation. I have not asked the president for the identity of that person because they want to remain anonymous, and I respect that. I've heard the rumors, but I'm not 100% certain because, again, I haven't asked to verify that myself. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, this AFGE leader Scalise and with Emmer both mentioned this new statement from the president of the American Federation of Government Employees. They represent 800,000 federal employees. They're obviously calling for a clean CR to pass, which is what you guys passed. Do you see this statement from AFGE as a turning point in the shutdown? Do you see this as something that could move Senator Schumer?
Certainly, I hope so. It's a union, you know, and they represent such a large amount. There's 1.4 million federal employees. They represent 800,000 of them, and they said, to your point, in quote, pass the CR and open the government. It couldn't be more clear, and because they understand the reality of this. These are federal employees. Many of them watch carefully what happens here in the halls of Congress. They know that this whole thing by the Democrats, the entire shutdown, is a charade, because they know, and anybody who pays attention knows, we're going to arm wrestle over the remaining issues on the table this year. And they're tired of the distraction, and it's hurting their families, and people are suffering real hardships. They really are going to the food pantries out now to feed their families. It's shameful. We're the greatest nation in the history of the world. We've got to be able to operate, and we can't allow a rise of Marxist and far-left activists in one party to shut down the entire operation of the federal government, and that is exactly what they are allowing them to do. The Democrats have got to come to their senses. You can endorse communists all you want, but at least keep the government operating for us. That's our plea. It's pretty simple. Yes, sir. Second row. Yeah, I've been carrying this visual aid around waiting for this question for a while, okay? So when I say that the Republicans have been working on a fix for health care, we've been doing this for years. And many of you who've been on this beat for a while know this is 2 publications. When I was chair of the Republican Study Committee, the largest caucus of Republicans in Congress, we published volumes of ideas on health care. This was our volume 1, a framework for personalized, affordable care. We had an entire body of the smartest minds in Congress, the smartest Republican minds who worked around the clock. The Doctors Caucus, they talked to stakeholders from around the country and in all the areas related to health care, and they came up with a formula on how to reduce the cost of health care dramatically, how to make Obamacare affordable and workable in some way for the American people, to increase the access to care and the quality of care. And these ideas have been on paper for a long time. There's volumes of this stuff, volumes of it. What we're doing right now, what we have been doing, what we were already doing, because we knew we were coming up to the end of the year, and we know that health care is a major burden for the American people. We've been working on it since day 1 of this Congress. We worked on it in the years prior. And we've already demonstrated, this is not talking points for us. When we say the Republican Party is the only party that has any chance at fixing health care for the American people, we've demonstrated it. We put it into the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. As you know, we strengthened the Medicaid program. We started there because it was the lowest hanging fruit. Why? Because the fraud is so glaring. And we eliminated the fraud. We got ineligible recipients off of Medicaid. We preserved it for the people who rely upon it and need it the most. Young pregnant women, the elderly, disabled, for example. We got able-bodied young men without dependents off the program. And what we did was we strengthened it. Don't take our word for it. The CBO, who normally is not on my team, okay? They're the ones that came out and said, yeah, it's going to save $185 billion. And they got 2.3 million ineligible recipients off of it already. That's an important first start. And so the next thing is to fix all the other components of health care. That's what we have plans to do. That's what we're working on. The expiring Obamacare subsidy at the end of the year is a serious problem, because if you look at it objectively, you know that it is subsidizing bad policy. We're throwing good money at a bad, broken system, and so it needs real reforms. The reason it was never appropriate or never possible to be resolved on a simple CR, stopgap funding measure, is because it's very complicated to fix. But Republicans have a long list of ideas. Leader Scalise has been working with the chairman of our 3 committees of jurisdiction, putting all of that, formulating all that, grabbing the best ideas that we've had for years to put it on paper and make it work. But we know we're going to have to arm wrestle with Democrats over that. Why? Because many of them are avowed to get us to a single-payer system. They do love socialism, my friends. They love Mamdani. He wants government to take over everything. They're on board with that program. They think the government can do a better job by taking over health care. We believe in the private sector and the free market and individual providers, their acumen. And we say that if you take the government off their backs and allow for real competition again in health care, you will improve its quality and you will bring down its cost. All of these are important components of that, and we have a lot of work to do, but it is not a simple thing, and I am not going to go in a back room with Chuck Schumer, like he keeps demanding, with 4 people and make this decision. I will not do it. It's not appropriate. It's not right. It's too complicated for that. We need all the members to have buy-in. We need to have these healthy debates and discussions, but we can't do it while they're shutting the government down to appease the Marxists. That's it. That should be your headline. I want to thank Chairman Williams and Administrator Loeffler for being here and highlighting the trials of small businesses, and we'll see you here again tomorrow. God bless.